Okay, welcome to everyone out there. It's me, International Master John Bartholomew. As usual, I'm going to start talking before the stream kicks in for those of you who are watching on the archive version. It's Saturday morning, and I'm about to play a match with Grandmaster Niclas Huschenbeth from Germany. He's living in the US. We played a match before on Chess24 back in October, and this is the rematch. This is the rematch, folks. So let me wait for a moment until you guys can see and hear me. How's it going to everyone in the chat already? Johnny, Andy, Colo, Eric, Mark, Fred, Stefan, Zach, James, Anton. Anton says audio 10 out of 10, video 10 out of 10. I like it. That's right, get hyped. It's Saturday morning chess, guys. Let's do this. Fire emojis on ready. You guys got your snacks and your drinks and whatnot. This will probably be, I don't know, at least an hour and a half, I'd say, of playing. The time control is slightly longer. It's 4 plus 2. So 4 minute with a 2 second increment. Last time we did 3 plus 1. I think the games were a little fast. Niclas asked if I wanted to do 4 plus 2, just as in the match with Jan Gustafsson, and I agreed to that. Civilian Arms, congratulations on tuning in for your first stream. We're about to start in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit, maybe play a game or two. Please change the board color. It's too dull. Well, I don't think Chess24 has that many board color options, to be honest, so I'm not going to mess with that. Jacob says, sup, John, can we expect any interesting openings today? Well, I won't tell you what openings I'm going to play because there might be some Huschenbeth stream infiltrators on here. You never know. But I will tell you that I'm going to come in with a more aggressive mindset than I did in the match with Jan Gustafsson. I'm not happy about my performance against Jan in the last match that I did, the last dual commentary. So I'm not necessarily going to play super aggressive, but I'm going to have a more aggressive mindset. I think I was intimidated by Jan in the previous one, and I can't play intimidated. I just got to go in, pawns and pieces flying. We've got the previous good result against Niclas, so there's no reason that I shouldn't be confident, even though he has been in great form. I might throw him a curveball at the opening a time or two. We'll see. Thank you, Sam. Yes, I did see the Scandinavian in the U.S. Championship. Varuja Nakobian played it in round 1 against none other than Fabiano Caruana. Unfortunately, Varujan went wrong because after e4, d5, e takes d5, he played the much inferior knight f6 compared to queen takes d5. Var, you should have taken lessons with me prior to the U.S. Championship. I would have prepared you real nice for Fabiano. Why, thank you, Semi. That's very nice of you to say that. Brad says, you're going to need it. Good luck. Wow. Hey, regardless of the result, we're here to have fun. I do want to win the match, but fun is the top priority. And I'm not playing Jan, I'm playing Niclas. Hey, Shanik, glad you can make the stream. John, I was wondering, do you drive a car? If so, kind/brand. I always imagine you driving a full trailer Mad Max style with giant pieces stuck on the grill. Yeah, I do drive. I have a Hyundai Elantra. Not nearly as exciting as what you described, but I like the car a lot. It's 2013. And it's silver, if you ever see me out there. Var does need Chessable. Shout out to Chessable. You can find my Scandinavian repertoire on there. Okay, so we're about 5 minutes away from start time. Toby asked, John, did you just get out of bed? No. I just haven't shaved in like a week or so. You know how, teams do playoff beards, that sort of thing? It's not like I haven't shaved since my last live stream loss to Jan, but I figured this might like build some, I don't know, some manliness, let's say. I'm ready to fight. Thank you, Don't Panic. He says, good luck from Boston. First time stream, long time viewer. I want to play one game just to warm up, just so I remember how the pieces move, especially on Chess24. Let me go to the lobby and find a game. Unless one of you guys wants to challenge me to a 1-minute game, if you're on Chess24 and know how to challenge. Let's see who we can find. Play now. 1 minute. We won't set a rating filter. Let's just go for it. Let's do this. The weather is great here, Andy Motor. Yeah, it's spectacular at the moment. Okay, so we're playing for life. Wow, we got a 25-44. Of course we get a tough opponent like very first game. But we're not going to be playing very long for Bullet. Let's see if he takes there. Yep, pre-move's still working. Good stuff, good stuff. Last time on one of these streams, I lost a Kochemer before my match with Jan, I think. So that didn't bode very well. I'm going to go knight d5. That looks like a good move. If he goes queen a6, I have knight c7. Let's take here. Then I'm going to swing the bishop in and hopefully win this d6 pawn. I was actually expecting him to take with the pawn instead, but he didn't. Okay, so let's do that. Knight f6, maybe an idea, or bishop to d3. Ooh, this looks kind of nasty, Mr. For Life. g6 is going to hurt. Yeah, they're in big trouble here, unless they... Okay, because now I can pick up their knight. I'm going to give a check and then pick up that knight. I had knight f6 too, but this is also good. Let's just make sure we don't blow it. Alright, we'll be safe. We'll be very, very safe. E8 was hanging there. No matter. I want to go bishop f6. That's my plan. Whoa, gotta watch that time, huh? Yikes. See if he takes it. He probably should. Okay, well, we can take here now. Now we're up a lot of material. And we're close to checkmating him, too. And we got the mate. Okay, so that bodes well, I think. Even though that was a bullet game, that player was 25-44. I won a grip of rating points because my bullet rating is 2300 on chess 24. I'm going to pause here because we're probably going to get started soon. Hello to you, Nexus. And my diametrical hello to you as well. Thank you, Constantine. Good to see you in the stream, too. Swendy Cubes asks, which Starbucks location do you go to? Well, there's several in Eagan that I frequent. So if you're in Eagan, Minnesota, you might see me around them sometime. I'm not going to give you the exact cross street because it varies. Play a Schliemann. Well, I know that Niclas plays after e4, e5. He likes to play the King's Gambit, f4 on move 2. So I will probably not play e5. I haven't played it much lately, and I just don't feel like facing the King's Gambit, to be quite honest. Someone says, hi from Kenya. It's Peter. How's it going, Peter? And thank you, AR Siegel from Israel. Matthew asks, you're not growing your playoff beard for the Wild. I should have said that I was growing it until the Twins won a game. The Minnesota Twins are our baseball team here, and they started the season 0-9, and they just won a game last night. So I guess it wouldn't make too much sense because I would have had to shave. But I should have said that. We've got a lot of people checking in. We've got 253 viewers at present, and like I said, this stream could go a little bit longer than the previous match against Niclas. I actually watched that match last night. I went back and rewatched it just for preparation purposes to kind of get myself in the zone, and it was right about 1 hour. And I think with a slightly longer time control, 4+2, we'll see some longer games, and I also suspect this match will be closer. Not that I blew Niclas out of the water last time or anything, but it felt like the match was closer. Last time I felt like the match should have been closer than it was, let's say. Got a couple people challenging me, including a 2665, but I'm not going to accept because we are going to get going very soon. Thanks, Alpha Strike. Appreciate you watching. And see you two again says greetings from Hamburg, Niclas's hometown. Awesome. Thank you, another German viewer tuning in. So you guys can actually use YouTube streaming now, huh? Because for a while, German viewers were not able to access the YouTube streams. But they must have changed something because Niclas is now doing it, although he's in the US right now studying. But since you're tuning in, maybe you're using a proxy or something, I don't know. Or they've changed the law. Any idea when we can expect GM Bartholomew? Unfortunately, Numeroid, I think that could be a while, if ever. I don't know. I'm not playing any tournaments at the moment. I haven't played anything since January. I'd like to say that GM is right around the corner, but that's probably not the case. I need to play more often, first and foremost, and I also need to study my butt off. That's good advice, Arab Assassin. He says, control the center, connect the rooks, develop minor pieces. Basics, that's right. An aggressive mindset. I noticed in my previous match with Niclas that I did well when I was putting him to decisions and I was trusting myself. You know, that sounds basic, but I think you forget about it sometimes with the psychology of a match. I know I definitely lost sight of that a bit when I was playing Jan. So you got to trust yourself in a match. You can't, hold back. Even if you're wrong, it's better to be wrong and have trusted yourself than not to have ventured anything in the first place. Let me just shoot Niclas a question here. My opponent is upset that I only played one game. Thanks, Jochin. Not too much, Ibrahim. How about you? What's up with you? Eric wants a rematch with Christoph, aka Chess Explained. That was a very competitive match. I think in that match, we tied the Blitz portion. We played both Blitz and Bullet. So we tied the Blitz portion, and I managed to win in Bullet. But in my opinion, that match could have gone either way. I think only because of my edge in Bullet was the reason I pulled it out. Okay, and we're ready to start. You guys ready to do this? Get your fire emojis ready. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Saturday morning chess, guys. First game with Niclas. Coming right up. And I have white. Okay, let's open with d4. As we've done on previous streams. My rating is a mighty 1570. Just going to tell him good luck. And let's rumble. I expect him to play knight f6 on move 1. He seems to have a fondness for that move. Okay, let's go into our bag of tricks early on. I'm going to play what the cool kids play these days, which is the London system. Okay, so let's just play knight f3. And I wonder what he's going to do, because I have no experience in this opening. I've literally never played it. And I just wanted to try it for this match. I noticed that Gatakomsky is having a lot of success with it. This is actually exactly how his game went yesterday with Hikaru Nakamura. And there was another game, Ray Robson versus Alexander Onashuk. Both of those games played in the US Championship. And they both reached this position, I believe. So let's play bishop d3. And now he can try to play something like, queen e7, looking to swap in the center. I think Kamsky played knight e5, so let's do that. Although the game kind of petered out to a draw. But I just want to play something comfortable to get my senses going here, my chess sense. Another move I'm thinking about playing on move 8 is bishop b5. I noticed Kamsky plays that as well. So 4 plus 2. 2-second increment. He's thinking a little bit. Maybe he's furiously looking up, seeing what Nakamura did in that game. There's some trickery here that you can employ. Like if knight d7, there's an idea. Knight takes d7, bishop takes d7, bishop takes d6, queen takes d6. D takes c5, queen takes c5, bishop takes h7, I believe is how it goes. Maybe we'll even get that. We'll see. Yeah, is this how it goes? I think so. Okay, so let's do this. Now if take, I can sack my bishop, then play queen h5 check followed by knight e4 is my recollection. I believe that's how it goes. Let's try it. I don't think this backfires, and I believe this is the position I'm thinking of. And there was a game, Kamsky versus Shanklin, to have reached this as well. And it's like a well-known trap in this London system. And he pretty much has to take it because queen h5 is coming anyways. So, in fact, I think I can pre-move this move. Even if he plays king h8, I'm going to play queen h5. Okay, so now we get this in. He can't take the knight because it's attacking his queen. And I'm just going to hop my knight into g5 after he moves the queen is the point. Can't remember how that Shanklin versus, or Kamsky versus Shanklin game went. Shanklin moved the queen somewhere, and then after knight g5 played rook to d8. But I like the fact that I'm ahead on the clock here, and I managed to catch him in probably the only trap I know in the London. Yes, it is aggressive, Stefan. Definitely aggressive in the first game. Got to seize those opportunities, right? Okay, so he played queen b5. We could play knight f6 check and take a draw, but we're definitely not doing that. Okay, so let's come here. And I think rook f d8 is basically forced. Because otherwise queen f7 is looking bad. So I can kind of force his king out. I got to calculate a few lines to see what's going to happen there, but I think after rook d8, I'm going to take on f7, maybe give a couple checks, and then reassess. Maybe even castle queenside. I don't see a mate I can quite deliver, but his king will be very precariously placed. So, if he plays queen d3, by the way, I have e4. That's important. Okay, so he did play that move. So let's take this first and foremost. And now, I might check him one more time and then castle or something like that. Yeah, let's check here. So if king g8, queen h7, king f8, check, I can win there. His king is escaping to d6, though. I have knight f7 at the end. But I think I want to keep him in the danger zone a little bit longer. Yeah, so let's castle. I figure I always have this move. So let's just guard the b2 pawn. My king is relatively safe after having castled, and I'm up a lot of time, too. Plays knight e5. That should be bad, right? Check, check, nh8, take g7, king goes to d6, but I have knight e4 at the very end. That must be very good. There's even some cool checkmate ideas, but I think the fact that I have knight e4 at the very end of this equation is what's going to make this work. I could also play like f4 here, but nah. Let's go check. So knight e4 check, king c6. I take e5. If he takes, I have rook d6. Actually, queen d6 mate. So this should be decisive. He can't take. He's pinned. So I'm taking e5 next move. It's the entire point of this operation. I mean, he can try to survive with a move like b6, but yeah, he just gave it up. That's over. It doesn't show the running score as of today. This is our previous score, so 6-2. We should maybe make a note of it somewhere. I know you guys can keep track of it in the chat, but 1-0. Yeah, this is a trap that if you play this system, you got to be aware of. And I referenced that Kamsky versus Shanklin game. Go look that up because it's one of the seminal games in this line. It looks illogical the way White's playing it. Like d takes c5 would not normally be good. But after the queen is dragged to the c5 square, you sack, you play queen h5 check. This is all forced. Knight e4, again he can't take because his queen would hang. So we're getting our knight to g5 with tempo. And then he's hard-pressed to defend, just queen to h7 mate. And if queen d3 here, it's very important that I have e4 blocking his queen diagonally. So black experiences a lot of problems. Whose stream is private? Squash Addict. Niclas's? I would doubt that. That seems weird. Thank you, Alpha Strike. I'll try to keep it up. I would consider playing this OTB, Benjamin. Actually, my secret hope is to build a repertoire on Chessable for the London system. If I can find the time to do that, I may do that. You know, that position after I castled queenside on move 19, this is very unpleasant for black. Castle's queenside doesn't even have a direct threat, but it's just hard for black to find a move. As you saw, he tried to bring some resources over to the king side, but his position fell apart thereafter. Okay, there's the next one. Let's rock and roll. So Niclas is white. There's another really good Kamsky game recently versus this Russian Grandmaster Goganov. You should check out that game as well. Okay, let's play a Sicilian in keeping with the aggressive themes. Usually plays open Sicilian, I've noticed. Okay, bishop to d3. So I have a lot of ways I can continue here, but I'm going to play knight f6 to start this. And I might have to go to different moves if knight f6 fails, but let's be optimistic. I don't know that knight f6 will fail as of now. Okay, so I think I want to play d6 just to stop him from playing e5. Yeah, and he's going to go for a bind sort of deal. Now I can put the bishop on e7, but I can also try to play g6, bishop g7. I'm trying to remember what's the preferred approach here. I think I'm going to go for g6. So looking to fianchetto this guy. You do leave d6 a bit more exposed this way, but I think it's the more dynamic way to handle the position versus just sticking the bishop on e7 as usual. I played the Scandi against Niclas at least 2 times in the previous match, so I know he's probably prepared for that. Hard to say how much preparation people actually do for dual commentary blitz matches online, but it pays to mix up your openings just to keep your opponents off guard, right? Okay, so he's going full speed ahead with the f-pawn. I'm just going to continue bishop g7. So his knight could be a bit loose on d4. I'm not threatening anything in particular at the moment, but discoveries would allow my bishop to attack that knight in the future. Yes, Maja, 1570 is my... I haven't played too many rated games on Chess24. Hence, we're playing unrated. I only played a couple sessions on Chess24 aside from these dual commentary matches, and I think those sessions were exclusively bullet anyways. I feel like Niclas is calculating something sharp here. Knight f3. So is he trying to force through e5? Well, if he is, I can't really do anything about that right now, so I feel I should just castle. And if e5, I'll reassess. Probably knight e8 has to be played. But I think knight e8's okay. I don't get the sense that I should panic yet. Maybe I could also take and play knight g4. That's probably better, in fact. Trying to hit the e5 pawn with all my minor pieces. I need to get this bishop in the struggle. So b6 comes to mind, although then e5 makes more sense for him. But still, I can always put the bishop on b7 and proceed from there. Maybe knight c5 first, clearing the d7 square for the other knight. Doesn't seem necessary. I'm just going to complete my development. You can't overthink it in Blitz. I know against Jan, I spent too long second-guessing some decisions that if I wasn't playing Jan in particular, I might have made quicker. So I'm trying not to make that mistake today. I don't know about a 5-0 sweep drumming. I'm just going to take it game by game. Okay, so we've got over a minute time advantage, and I feel I have a normal position. So this should bode well. Now, this f4 pawn is a little loose. I kind of want to attack it. Like, I'm thinking about d5. But I worry d5 is premature. It probably is. Let's just play some standard moves. I might play knight h5 in the future at a moment when it's awkward for him to defend f4. Yeah, let's line up the e8 rook with his queen on e2. This is a standard arrangement for black. I might play queen b8 in the future, like swing my queen over to a8. Attack e4. Look for a timely d5 break. Now that my rook is on e8, d5 becomes much more of a realistic possibility. Good position. I haven't had to use much time. Yeah, he plays rook e1. Okay, so queen b8 is my first instinct here. Also, that knight h5 move comes to mind, just to see how he defends. But now let's postpone that. So e5 is not winning material. Our knight has squares it can go to. So he plays bishop c2. So now maybe he's saying he's on this. So if I play knight h5 here, I wonder. Or knight c5. Knight c5 makes a lot of sense. He might play b4 in that case. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go knight h5. And then, assuming he plays bishop e3, I think I will play knight c5 then. And try to get both my knights working towards his pawns and such. The only thing is that blocks my rook. I kind of like my rook attacking c4, but what can you do? You can't have everything. Could also play d5 and try to go knight takes e4, but I feel that's premature somehow. Yeah, let's go this way. And he can't play b4 because I play bishop takes c3 in reply. That's one nice aspect of this open bishop diagonal. $550 viewers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Okay, so here I could take on c3 and then take e4 if I like. That weakens my dark squares pretty severely, but it may be the correct call. So bishop takes c3. Let's say he takes with the pawn. Knight takes, pawn takes, or bishop takes, bishop takes. He takes d6 at the end. I gotta be better there. I win c4 at the end too. Let's do this. He instantly takes with the queen. He saw that coming. All right, let's go bombs away. I think he's going to take. I don't think he can tolerate that knight on e4 for very long. My knight on h5 controls some of the dark squares because I have given up my dark square bishop, so that makes me a little concerned. e5 here, perhaps, but I lose b6. d5 looks logical. What else? Anything more forceful? There's b5 would drop my knight, so don't play that. Okay, let's do this. So I'm trying to take advantage of his bishop being loose on c2. He takes. Okay, I can play rook takes c4 here if I want. I think I will do that. In between move and try to win e4 next. Plainly. Let's take with the rook. I'm hitting f4 multiple times. Gotta watch his knight coming in and maybe causing some ruckus. Yeah, knight e5. Decent move, I think. So... yeah, knight f6 is or knight d7 rather, is kind of a bother here. d4 maybe? d4 kind of looks like a cop-out though. not sure about this decision, but I have 27 seconds, so I got to do something. Let's take here now. I hope f7 is sufficiently guarded. I think it is for now. He's got to worry about g2 to some extent. Now here... Okay, I'm going to sack and then play d4. I'm threatening g2 with this idea. Ah, I missed that he could do that. Let's continue playing aggressively. I'm on g2 a couple times. This has worked thus far. Okay, let's come here. Oh boy. Time scramble. Trying to coordinate. Kind of needs to keep his bishop glued, doesn't he, though? Uh-huh. Let's go threaten that. I want to get my knight to f5 if I can. Threaten some stuff. Let's just go take that. This is really tough for him, I feel. Let's look for a swap. I maybe shouldn't have done that. Okay, but I'm going to take anyways. Bring this in. Let's not go there. Let's go here. Ah, he can take d5. He could have taken d5 there. As played, I might be doing okay. Let's bring our king up now. His king is in a very awkward spot on that current square. Let's give him a little check. Let's move this over. I want to go knight d3 maybe at some moment. I'm kind of shuffling right now, but just doing my best. Let's keep it slow. Continue the torture. Pressure d2. I'm going to try to maneuver my knight to e4. This is intense. The 2-second increment just gives you no respite. I'm telling you. Let's bring this back over. I'm not satisfied with that position. I'm going to bring my knight to e5 now. I changed my mind. Try to go after that pawn. This is what you can often do in positions. Okay, let's give a check. And I think this is probably the cleanest. Should just be a winning rook endgame now. Yeah, he resigned. So I don't know that I played that in the best way. Actually, I can tell you definitively I didn't play that in the best way. I felt like when I played d4, my position was good, but I missed that he had that bishop d2 defense. But at the end, even though materially it's equal, I've got a minor piece plus 2 pawns against his rook. This position is way easier for black to play. Don't make that mistake of thinking that because white has the same amount of material, white should be fine. White is just struggling here. It's probably technically winning, given his king position, my active pieces. But with the increment, we were both on the edge there. Okay, someone said Niclas's stream is private. Let me see if I can tell him that. Because it shouldn't be. I want to give him a shout out on Skype too. I think the setup I got in this game is one that if you're a con player, you can aim for. I haven't played a lot of cons where you fianchetto the dark square bishop, but that's something I'm trying to change. I like this setup. It kind of combines the hedgehog with a kingside fianchetto. Often in the Hedgehog, the bishop's on e7, but this new experience having the bishop on this diagonal looks pretty promising. I mean, even more promising than the bishop being on e7 sometimes. So I think he's challenging me again. Yeah, I'm just going to accept. I sent him a couple messages, but sorry, guys. I don't know why his stream would be private. Okay, let's go d4 again. So we're up 2-0. Race to 5. Draws do count in this match. He just said in the chat, oops. All right, so apparently Niclas' stream was private for those first 2 games. We're going to relax here a second while he fixes that. Thanks, large cup of milk. Lots of practice playing online and discussing at the same time. Let's just abort this game because I think... All right, I'll let him abort it. He might still be able to play it. The only reason I was actually talking there about my plans is because in that position where I was maneuvering the knight around at the end, there's not a lot White can do. White is just sitting there. If he moves a muscle, he might lose instantly, especially moving his bishop. He had some problems with his king and his bishop aligning. So it's mostly a position where you're just trying to maneuver around to the right setup. And I think I eventually found it with the knight going to e5 and the bishop coming to f3, winning the g4 pawn. It took a while. Niclas' stream is fixed now. That's good to hear. I'm not going to grow a full beard, no. Oh, and we got a game. Okay. So let's go with what worked last time. This seemed to be a prudent decision to play this way. Let's see if he repeats his idea. I might repeat myself, or I might deviate, actually, before he gets a chance to do it. Okay, he's going to play a little bit different. Let's go c3. We're going to go knight bd2. I'm going to throw in h3 because I'm never quite sure when to do that. So I might as well do it now. And we'll play the bishop out to d3. Okay. You always want to double check and make sure you're not running into e5 in certain positions. I think here I'm fine. And shall we go queen e2? Queen e2, idea a6. That's the usual plan. I can also play e4 and try to take over the center. Maybe I should do that. I'm torn. The bad part is this is like a standard position. And, okay, e5 doesn't work here because after all the trades, I can play knight f3 with queen d5. I know that probably made no sense, but... So what to do now? e4 or bishop h2, perhaps? I'm going to play bishop h2. Let's just keep the tension for a moment. I'm not sure if I want to play e4. Sometimes you can do without that move. This is helpful, though, undoubtedly. Okay, so he plays knight f8. So do I want to play my bishop into a6 before he gets a chance to play pawn a6? Maybe here first. Let's go here first and attack his rook and just see how he responds. Maybe I can get an outright attack on d6 now that I think about it. So he's going to play a knight back, which looks like a bit of a concession. So if I take, he takes here, knight c4, queen c7, rook d1. It looks pretty, but I don't think it does much. So let's go here now. At least I force his knight back to maybe a slightly inferior square. Yeah, he's going to decline the trade. So let's go ahead and attack on the queen side. Maybe with an eye towards playing b4 and crowding him with b5 in the future. I would have expected queen to c7 on the previous move. Just defending the bishop. Okay, knight g6. So b4, full speed ahead. Seems like the logical follow-up. I feel his position's kind of cramped. Like, his knight on d7 isn't doing a whole lot. He may try to play knight h4 and swap some stuff, but with the impending advance of my pawns, he's got to worry that this bishop doesn't get trapped. Maybe he'll move this knight so he can always drop it back to d7, but assuming there's a trade on the c file, maybe I can pop a rook over to c1 and attack the bishop. Action in the center. So, am I trapping that piece? b5, if he goes bishop d5, I have e4. That would trap it. I think he's trying to goad me into walling my bishop off, though, is the thing. b5, he probably is just going to take on f3 and claim that my bishop is stranded. Nah, but that's a strong piece. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take with a queen if he does. Well, I don't know, actually. Yeah, probably queen. So I know this bishop is far away from home. But I feel it's okay. Yeah, let's take with the queen in the case that he captures, which I think he has to. If bishop d5, e4 seems to win a piece, as far as I can tell. Bishop e6, d5. My only concern now is that this bishop is out of play, but I own the light squares. If I could teleport my bishop back to c4 or d5 or something, black is in big trouble. So if he plays like queen c7, it might be good for me to play my queen into c6 at some stage, so he's got to be careful where he moves this piece in particular. Meanwhile, I can probably play bishop b7 coming up if I want. Yeah, maybe now. Maybe just activate that bishop right now. Is knight h4 a concern, though? That's pesky. Knight h4. Yeah, I gotta be cautious. Okay, let's not do it right now, then. Let's wait for a moment. Just line up against this queen. If queen c7, I can still play queen c6, so no rush in that department. If knight h4, maybe queen e4. Maybe. I'd be aligned with his rook, but... Or queen c6. I think queen c6 is also good. So place his bishop there. So if I take c5 or play knight e4, I'm hitting this pawn. Queen e7, take e5, he's probably coming out of that okay. If queen c6, e takes d4, I can maybe end up taking on d6 at the end of this line. Let's actually go queen d5, this looks a little safer. Defending the d4 pawn, but still asserting the queen in the center. So again, the theme of this position is, will I be able to activate my bishop? That's a big question. Knight c4, knight f6, queen c6. Queen is okay on that square. Yeah, let's do it. Looks a little scary, but I don't see how he's going to punish me for this. And now d takes c5 becomes a possibility. Trying to open up the way towards his queen. Oh, I think that last game was rated because I gained a bunch of rating points. Okay, let's take this way. So if he plays d5, I'm playing d takes c5. Also, d5 is hard to play because he has a hanging rook, but I don't even have to take it right away. I think just leave the pressure on d6. My bishop is now participating there, but this position is so unpleasant for him on that square that I think I can wait. Okay, unless he's going to take with his bishop on c5, but does that really matter too much? Maybe. Bishop c7 here is also possible. Bishop c7, queen d7, take b8. Let's do that. Do that first. Force him to play queen d7, whereupon at all times there'll be a queen trade possible. So let's take here now. Now probably take on c5 because... Yeah, let's take here. I think taking d7 might have also been good, but this looks okay. I'm thinking after bishop takes, just trade the queens and take on d5. Yeah, so let's just swap and then go take d5, very simply. We're just up material. Granted, this bishop is still buried, but I think it's fine. Okay, so let's play a useful move, king f1. Don't have to do much at the moment. Want to get that bishop into play, though. Let's reroute. I can go knight e5 if I do that. Let's play the king up. This allows rook d8. Once we get rook d8 in, if he swaps the rooks, I'm just up an exchange plus pawn. Should be pretty easy. Okay, and we win that game. So we sprinted out to a 3-0 lead. So what went wrong for him here? Probably he just didn't respect my light square bishop enough. Sometimes bishop c6 is played in response to bishop a6, but you saw this plan that I enacted moving the queenside pawns forward, a4, b4, and it seems like he just didn't play precisely in reply. And then my only concern about the position was this bishop here, but you can see the effect that the light square dominance has. I'm able to control all of these key squares, and he had a hard time resisting as a result. Okay, so far so good, guys. Robert says, Niclas just sits and lets white do what he wants. Very passive. I know it sometimes seems like that in these matches, but Niclas is a GM. He's 25-50 FIDE. He's maybe just adjusting to my playstyle so far. I can sympathize because I kind of played this way against Jan maybe sometimes, like more passive than I would have liked. It's hard in the moment to try to reverse the course of your play. Okay, hope everyone's doing well out there. Just waiting for Niclas's next challenge. This next game would be really big. If I can win or draw with black, then I'm at 3.5 or 4. But I have black, so I know he's going to come guns firing. He's got to get back in this match. Thanks, Tuhin. Glad you could tune in for the stream. I don't know if I'm going to have a rematch with Jan, Vince. That remains up in the air. At some point, we probably will. I mean, he expressed interest, and I definitely do, so I just don't know when it would be. I don't think so, Viaron. I think you exaggerate. Okay. Here we go. Game number 4 coming up. And see if he sticks with e4. If he wants more... I'm going to go into the con again. I think I was happy with that position. And he seems willing to repeat lines, so I think I'm willing to go into it as well. Maybe we can... Well, no, let's stick with the same line. So queen c7, stopping e5. Yeah, now we want to go d6. Putting a stop to any business involving e5. Bring the knight to d7. I'm going to go for the same setup. The thing is, since we already played this once, he'll probably play it a lot faster this time around. Maybe he's going to put the bishop on f4. We shall see. I wonder if he's going to try to attack this pawn somehow. Bishop, rook to d1 might be a prelude to that. So c4 is a little bit loose, but I don't think I can exploit that in any way. I could play rook d8, I could play b6 as normal, but b6 he might go queen d3. But I mean, worst case scenario, I always have knight e8. I think his next move is probably going to be bishop f4. That's probably what he wants to do. Bishop to f4. Okay, let's play rook d8. So bishop f4, I'm thinking knight e8. I know it looks kind of passive, but I believe I can hold this pawn. And we'll see if he piles up against it. He may choose to double rooks, something to that effect. This position's a little defensive. One idea is to take on c3 and then play e5 and f6 and try to set up a wall of dark square pawns. That would be an interesting change of direction, but rook c1. That I'm not sure about. Okay, I'm just going to play normal. Try to get the bishop out to b7. I would have expected him to try to pile up on the d file. $558 viewers. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday or Sunday if you're on the far edges of the globe. That doesn't make sense because a globe doesn't have edges. But you guys know what I meant. I'm very curious what he's up to here. Okay, so he is attacking this pawn. Now, I was thinking I might be able to ignore that, but maybe just knight c5 is the best plan. So if I play bishop e7, he takes, we trade, and nothing doing there. I can win c4, though. So bishop e7, bishop takes d6, knight takes, queen takes c4. I have the two bishops, but he's kind of got a pin going on the d file. Knight c5 is kind of the no-brainer move. I think I'm going to play that because that just looks a lot easier. Plays his queen back, okay. All right, so it's complete development. If b4, I might even be able to take on c3 and then take e4, kind of like I tried to do last game. That's a theme. Giving up the dark square bishop, but winning the e4 pawn. And he's goading me into doing it. Do we pull the trigger? Bishop takes, queen takes. Knight takes e4. Boy, those dark squares look pretty weak, though. They really do. Take, take, take. He could probably move his queen somewhere. Not sure about that continuation. It is an extra pawn, though. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to risk it. In keeping with the spirit of my play thus far. Just going directly for the throat. No messing around. I've got a 3-0 lead. This is a risk, but if I win this game, that would be huge. I don't think he'll take the knight. I think he'll want to preserve the bishops. So I expect him to play some queen move. Maybe queen b2. He takes. Okay, he surprised me. So if I move my bishop back, what is your follow-up? Do you have one? He's going to swing his queen over to h3, perhaps? That might be it, but I think I got to do this. I can always play h5 if he does that. Or even knight f6, maybe. Now the onus is on him to prove compensation for the pawn. Whereas I can kind of sit back and just defend for a few moves. e5 could be a good defensive measure if I'm ever able to achieve that move. Okay, so here, maybe knight f6 is the best. Yeah, let's go knight c5. I just saw c5. But you know what? He can play c5 anyways on the next move. Okay, I better do this then. I'm worried about some sacrificial possibilities here, but I hope it's not too big of a deal. So let's take once. And maybe queen e7. Queen to e7. Take, knight takes, queen over to a3. I have knight f5 holding, I think. All right. Ah, c6 maybe. I didn't see c6, but I guess I have bishop c8. That looks very awkward though. But I might be able to unwind. He's gonna go for it. Okay, so I gotta do this now. Otherwise I'll lose my bishop. He's on the hunt. Here comes the aggression. c7 isn't quite working for him. e5 is a threat by me. Yeah, so he shifts over. e5 I can play now though. Let's do that. And then try to get our knight back in the action, huh? Let's go knight here, looking for knight b5. This knight is loose at all times, which is awkward. He might play h4 as a result. He's pressuring on the clock. Okay, let's go here. Bishop f5, he has a4 in mind, I suppose. I'm going to try to do that first and weaken him. Although f3 might be helpful, I don't know. Oh, bishop g5, wow. I'm not even seeing bishop g5. Yikes. Ugh. Not good. I'm on the defensive in this one for sure. Okay, so queen here. He has knight f6 next move. This is point. All right, I'm going to try to go here. I'm way down on time, too. It's not going to be simple for him to win that, though. Okay, let's take here. I got to keep some pieces on board, I feel. Knight coming into d4, maybe? Try to block him up a little bit. This position's still not clear. It feels like he's the aggressor, and I definitely missed some stuff in regards to the f6 square. But the position itself is not simple. So I want to get my knight into d4, but I got to guard my rook first. Now I'm threatening knight e2. So he may just cover that somehow. And then what? Queen d7 next move, perhaps? Not sure. I wonder if I can ever play knight f3 check, too. That'd be pretty cool if that worked. Knight f3 check, take. I don't know. I'm not going to risk it. I'm not sure about that. Probably just doesn't work, period. Okay. Let's bring this over. Hmm. 5 seconds. I'm going to try this. He might ignore it, though. In time pressure, it might not be a bad attempt. He's going to run towards the center, okay. Threatening his rook on c1. Also threatening some checks. Oh, I almost lost on time there. He's bailing out with his king. Uh-huh. Again, almost lost on time. I can take c7. This is very lucky if it works. Oh no, he can just take e2 though. Yikes. Okay, I've got a bunch of pawns in the center, but will that be enough? I don't know. I need to get these pawns advancing quickly. Wow, he's very crafty. Check. And he's slowly getting my pawns. Just trying to get my king in front and do something. If I can connect those pawns, I've got a chance. Okay, let's come here. Try to check him on the back rank, maybe. So if he brings his king in, I can check here. What a wild game. Can I advance? No, I don't think so. I gotta go back. Oh, we can take there. That's his idea. Okay, let's go here. This is really tricky. I fear you can just take this pawn at some stage, though. Yeah, like that. I gotta check on c2. d2 next? Ooh, almost lost on time again. Advance. Keep advancing. Wow. This position might be a draw. Or maybe I win? Don't know that I can play for a win here. Because if I go here, he takes on d2 at all times. Woo. Got a draw out of that. Yikes. Yeah, that was very fortunate at the end. I feel he must have been winning probably when my pawn was on e4 and the other one was on d3. They were connected, but he seemed to make good progress in stalling those pawns. So I'm very pleased with the half point there. That was a crazy game, guys. 84 moves. It looks like my fortunes changed right around here when I was able to get d2 in. When that is played, I mean, maybe I even missed a win. I don't know for certain. But I get 2 pawns on the second rank. They're both primed to promote. But, nah, probably not, because he has all these checks. And the point is, if my king ever goes to the second rank, so if ever I go here to f2, then he can take, and he's stopping me from promoting. So I'd probably lose in that case. Yeah. Sick endgame. I went for it with knight f3 check. That was a key decision. I feel like even here I might have missed something. Like maybe rook takes c7 is better right at this stage. Rook takes c7 check, queen takes c7, queen e2 check. And then I pick up his rook and I'm probably queening and winning. Yeah, that might have been decisive right here. So this line. I played queen e2 check right away, but if I go here, he's got to take and then check. Wherever his king goes, I take his rook next move. So let's say here, take here, and he can't stop me from promoting. He has to give up his rook to do so, but then he's down a ton of pawns in the endgame. Queen endgame. Well, the strategy of playing aggressively and just going for it when possible is working out so far. 3.5/2. Still games to be played, though. Not chalking anything up. It really could have gone either way. I mean, there were multiple moments where it looked like he was winning. Mostly he winning. I thought about knight f3 check even back here. But it doesn't appear to really work. Like, if I do it at this stage, take, take, you can probably just play king h1. And if my queen comes into g4 trying to deliver mate, he has this. In fact, when I did it in the game, so right here, couldn't he have just done that? Take, take, hid the king on h1 instead of bailing towards the center? I think we both overlooked that this was just possible. Knight f3 is like the definition of a bluff in chess. It was a blitz bluff. But yeah, if this happens, I mean, here I'm threatening the rook and mate, but he can cover both with rook g1, so he should be fine. All right, next game. And we're going to have white again. Let's keep hammering the London system in there. Niclas has not deviated from knight f6. If he plays d5, I might still play bishop f4. I might go c4 and just see what's up in the queen's gambit. That is correct, Nick. That is the current score. He does play d5. Okay, well, let's see what he wants to do in the queen's gambit. Again, I could play bishop f4, but I feel like he's got something up his sleeve against d4, d5, bishop f4. Ah, he's going to play this way. All right. Touche, sir. Okay, I'm going to go for this. And he plays bishop b4. Now I have to remember. Do you play e5 right away, or do you play c takes d5 first? I think I play e5 right away, and then he goes c5, as far as I can recall. Because if black does not play c5 and get something going towards the center, then white should have an advantage based on my central domination. But yeah, c5 is a move he can try here. Doesn't play it. So a3, just try to get the bishop pair. Yeah, let's do it. He's going to take. Bishop a5 makes no sense, so... yeah, look for the c5 move even still. I think he's going to play that. Still no. Looks like he's trying to play the position in the style of a French defense. Okay, I'm going to take. Takes with the e-pawn. I'm not familiar with this type of structure. Let's just develop. When in doubt, bring the pieces out. It looks odd having the pawn on c6. I would have figured he wanted to take with the c-pawn and try to use control of the c-file, maybe. Let's just develop. If he wants to take it, then he can help our queen a little bit. I may look to play a4, a5 later. Ooh. Do I have the Greek gift here? Check, knight g5, followed by queen h5. Okay, so if I check, take, knight g5, he has king g6. But that's always dangerous. Like, then I get to play h4? Ah, no, he can defend with bishop d3 at the end. Take, take, knight g5. Yeah, and then bishop d3, I think is working. So let's not do that. Unfortunately, I had to waste a little time looking at that, but it's good that I saw bishop to d3. He can't move this knight until he resolves the bishop, so I expect him to take somewhere. Maybe just throwing the bishop out to g5 is a good plan from here. He seems not entirely sure what to do himself. So queen there. I still can't really contemplate that idea. I think he wants to go queen f5. So let's try to throw a wrench in the works. He might have been thinking about trading in queen f5. He might still do it, actually. Yeah, he's going to do it. But... okay, so if I take and play g4, what's up with that? His knight's got to go to a really bad square. Now let's do this. Knight h6, that looks downright awful. I'm going to try to maneuver my knight up to f5. Once I get it to f5, I'm hitting h6, and also maybe knight e7 takes c6 if ever I'm allowed. Simplification. Maybe king h8, looking to play rook g8. But I think knight f5 would actually still be good there. He's going to try to break with his pawns. But e6? E6 just looks too good to pass up. Stops his knight from coming to d7. It would take some convincing for me to not believe that this move is good. So great opportunity right here, folks. Let's try to make the most of it. So knight coming into f5. He's going to bring his king up. That's interesting. I thought he might do that. Now, I'd really like to be able to tactically exploit that, but I don't see how. So let's bring this over. Just to kind of a semi-waiting move. I want to see if he's going to commit his knight somewhere. I can almost win material with just e7 straight away. I could also check and then go pick up the c6 pawn. Check here, check on e7. He goes to g5. Nah, let's just play this right away. And then check and go over to d6. I think he's going to give the exchange. Yeah, he's going to play king g6, allow knight d6, and just give up the exchange and try to play that position. The thing is, I don't have to take the rook right away. Like, I might be able to benefit from avoiding that. But then he might move his rook away. Okay, now let's just be smart about this. Bag the exchange, double the rooks. Maybe swing over to h3 at an opportune moment for him. When you start trying to get fancy in Blitz, that's when things go wrong. So let's not partake in that. He's got a queenside majority, but big deal. a4. He wants his knight in on e4. I'm going to let him take that pawn if he wants. I'm going to go rook e6 if he does that. So I want to get my rook active and into the position if possible. I would think that winning the e-pawn is the first thing on his agenda, but I'm not going to make that simple for him. Like, the a-pawn is far less valuable than the e-pawn right now. He can have that. I get time to bring my rooks into strong attacking positions. Knight back to c7. Passive. Let's do this. We go f5 just so he can't ever put anything there. And he's so defensive right now. a4, knight there, rook e6 looks good. So let's do this. If here I get to play rook takes c6, probably followed by c4, undermining. Yeah, this looks like a good idea. And then just take on c4 next move. The more open lines, the better for me. Maybe rook e6 was strong. I could still do it, but I'll just take on c4. That's far simpler. Yeah, I think he's going to go for knight g5, but this must still be good, so I'm going to do it. He's going to play knight g5 and try to go knight f3. Or that. Probably just rook over. Threatening rook c7. So if he takes rook c7 check and he's in pretty much a mating net. Check. His knight is nearly trapped. Rook c4 followed by knight f6 looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I like this. He has to go knight b3, and now we get the rook up here. Attacking f6. Maybe a5 just to be clean now. I don't want to take on f6, but a5 looks smart. Rook takes f6, knight e4 check would be tragic. That would not be what we want with a 3.5 lead. Yeah, he resigned. So that one I think was characterized by the opening, kind of a strange choice in opening by Niclas. Not bishop b4, that is a move, it's a sideline. The main line goes d takes e4, knight takes e4, then bishop b4 check. But the way he treated the position thereafter I found kind of odd. Like here I was questioning whether e takes or c takes was best. And he never played that pawn c5 move as I thought he might. He kept this structure a7, b6, c6, d5 that just looked highly unpleasant for him. Yeah, and queen f5 works out well if I don't have g4. And now his knight is lacking squares, he has to go to h6. Otherwise, he loses a pawn. And then I gave him doubled pawns, jumped my knight into f5. It's a very good position for white hereafter. Thank you, Cinemoto. Appreciate the support, guys. We've got 624 viewers. And if we get half point more, we win the match. Thanks, Hertz Waddle Think. Just want to secure this half point and get the match over with. John, do you have any plan on playing Blitz Bullet with Eric Hansen? We haven't talked about a dual commentary, but I'm friendly with Eric, so yeah, we can probably organize that at some stage. You know, after the pawn gets to e6, I think he probably had to do what he did, which is give up the exchange, like let me take on e8. Now, the only thing that could hurt white here is if black manages to keep like the rook and the knight on the board and he wins the e-pawn. So I just wanted to make sure he couldn't do that so easily. Like rook fe1, if he took a3, which is maybe the most challenging, I was going to play rook e6 and try to infiltrate and go after the c6 pawn. All right, here we go. Whoa, that just disappeared. So I'm black again. Let's see if he sticks with e4. He does, and I see no reason not to continue playing the Sicilian. Open Sicilian again. That last game was fine. I mean, in general, in the openings, I feel I've been getting good positions, so I don't see a reason to deviate. Let's keep doing this old d6 stuff. Knight c3 this time. Okay. This time, let's put the bishop on e7. We'll switch it up a little bit. And play knight bd7. He might do something more aggressive, trying to throw his pawns at me. Like, white can always think about g4. He can still try to pummel through with e5 if he wants. But I think he'll maybe preface it with a developing move like bishop to d2. Okay, king h1. So I can play b5 if I want. And I think I will. Yeah, let's do b5. Introducing the idea of b4 and trying to get my bishop on b7 as well. So bishop b7 or b4. b4, there's knight a4, which looks mildly annoying. So when in doubt, develop your pieces. When in doubt, bring them out. And b4 himself. Okay, so indicating his desire to play a4, perhaps. Probably I should castle against this. a4, b takes a4, rook takes a4, maybe d5. Maybe d5 right now, in fact. But d5 now, he has e5. Not sure how I feel about that. Okay, got a castle. And he does continue with that move. Okay, let's take it. I suspect rook takes and trying to hammer the a6 pawn. So my pawns are rather weak, but maybe I can stir up some trouble on the queen side. Takes with the knight, surprising. Now I feel like I have to play d5. I feel like that is mandatory, so let's not think twice about it. And if takes, I can take with the knight, and I'm on b4. I would have thought rook takes was better, because that creates a more immediate problem on a6. So if e5, knight e4, then I'm on the bishop on e1. That looks good for me. I'm pretty active there. He can maybe derail my plans if he was able to arrange a future c4, undermining the d5 pawn. Okay, so take with the knight. Knight takes e6. That doesn't work. Never mind. I don't know why. I thought my knight on d5 was undefended for a second. He could go take, take, queen takes, and then win the knight, but that's silly. Both these pieces are defended. If f5, I'll play e5 right here. Kick his knight. Some stuff to calculate for both sides. But in general, I feel good because I got the d5 break-in, which in the Sicilian is paramount. If you're able to achieve that break, you're pretty happy. Don't think I have to worry about h7. I don't see any sacrifices killing me much. Killing me at all. And he's got that problem on b4. That's his main issue at the moment. And if he takes a timeout to defend it, I think bishop f6 is a good retort. Also, my knight and my queen are combining on f4. So he's going to go for it. Well, let's proceed as planned. And see what he's got in mind against this move. I am threatening to take because my knight on d5 defends the bishop, so he couldn't play queen takes e7 thereafter. We're almost doubling him on the clock, too. Yeah, so he's going to attack. He wants to land that knight on f5 and just hope for the best. So bishop takes, knight f5, maybe knight f4 then, as a way to spoil his fun. Yeah, I'm not going to look further than that. I think this is probably the way to go. Knight f4, take, take, check. Nah, nothing to worry about. Let's do this. So I'm attacking g2, so I'm compelling him to give up the dark square bishop, which should help me a lot. Brings his rook over. Okay, so f3 is a move that could spoil his day, maybe. But maybe knight e5 first. Then if rook takes there, I have knight takes d3. Yeah, let's do that. Continuing to play loose and aggressive. Leg, if you will, if you're a poker player. Loose aggressive. You might want to play bishop e4, yeah, I was just going to say, and try to swap those pieces. I kind of want to hold this pawn, so I'm thinking knight g6. Let's do that. If he takes, then I'll be on his b4 pawn. I suspect he might go knight c5. He does. Let's take that. How about a5 now? Undermining move. Looks pretty good, right? Just trying to be wary for tactics. I don't want him messing up my position with some sort of tactic. Looks good. I'm going to do it. I just have to bear in mind that his queen is attacking my rook on a8. So moves his rook over. He wants rook d7. Let's just take. Ah, that move. Didn't see that. Good move. I should have thrown in a rook move first. I could sack the exchange. You know what? I think I will. Just in the interest of not giving him counterplay. I've got pawns for it. But I wouldn't have liked to do that. That was not in the playbook. I might make a Luft move next if I can. Actually, let's play the bishop back here. I want to see if I can attack this c2 pawn. Maybe h6 now. Rook d7 looks like it makes sense. Let's play the queen in. So if I can maintain an attack here, I should be good. I'm kind of huddled with my pieces on the king side, I know. Maybe play b3 and just get rid of the queen side pawns. Rook c8 also looks pretty good. Let's do this. Liquidate a little bit. Knight into d6. Okay. He hung his rook on d1. Check. Ouch. Yeah, he just blundered that. And he resigned. Well, a sudden ending to that one. I'm glad I noticed that he was hanging his rook. Yeah, knight d6 just severed the coordination between those two pieces, and boom. I played slightly inaccurately, though, at the end. Just knight d7 blindsided me. Did not see that move whatsoever. I should have listened to my inner chess soul and played rook e8, attacking the queen. I think I was considering rook a8, but in hindsight, rook fe8 looks better, hitting the queen with tempo. Okay, well, let me tell Niclas GG's. Yeah, and I know he's disappointed with that result, for sure. And, again, like, the games were pretty one-sided this time around. I felt like I was getting good positions out of the opening, and that was carrying through to the middle game. And I also avoided making any catastrophic blunders, right? So, definitely not Niclas's best day, but that happens in chess. I mean, there could be a live stream that I lose 4.5 or something. You never know. All right. Well, I wish I could turn in 3,000 performances all the time. Someone predicted 5-0. It wasn't 5-0, but someone predicted a big score, so whoever that was, thank you. There are some cool games this match. The third game in particular with, was that the third game? The one where I had the two connected pawns against his two rooks. That was a cool game. I like that one. It ended up being a draw. Thanks, Ibrahim. Just running hot today. The London system worked out. No complaints with d4 followed by bishop f4. And in the game where we didn't play the London as white, he deviated with d4, d5. I thought maybe he had something up his sleeve via that move order. For instance, if I go back to the beginning. So if... I think my stream is lagging a little bit. Sorry, guys. But the board is lagging. Thank you, Nexus. Thank you, Eric. So, with the move order d4, d5, bishop f4, black might be more likely to play a quick c5 and try to scoot the queen out to b6. Not necessarily on move 2, but for instance, like knight here, e3, c5. This is a line that I played as black too. So I kind of thought he might do that. And I hadn't seen too many games where he plays d4, d5 as black, so I figured let's just go with the queen's gambit. And that was the game where he tried this bishop b4 line, and I got a good position heading into the middle game. Thank you, Artemia. Appreciate it. McPartridge Boy says, the London system, you mean King George's system. That didn't work out too good for the UK. McPartridge Boy is from the UK, so he would know. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy the weather today. It's really great. Might go hiking or something. Get out of the house a little bit. Yeah, see you later, Eric. You too, Charles. This is what can happen in matches if one side gets on a run. Matches just bring a different level of psychology to the battle. Some of the most interesting chess books are on World Championship matches. For instance, the Tal Botvinnik World Championship match. I have Tal's book on that match. It's great. It goes into excellent psychological detail. And more recently, the books by Kasparov on his many matches with Karpov are great reading. Because it's so different playing one person versus playing a tournament where you just get one game against a player and then you move on to a different opponent. And if you can get on a streak, if you can kind of nail the person's playing style and or get in their head, not necessarily saying that happened in this match, but it's hard for them to turn it around, especially in a Blitz match where you have no time in between the games. It's just play one game, go to the next one. I think in chess you have to have a short memory. The older I get, I'm learning this. You have to just be willing to cast off losses and try to continue playing, even if you take a bad result or have a string of bad games. But psychologically, that's very difficult. Niclas said, good games, didn't stand a chance today. You got me with the bishop f4 line. Got to look that up. Okay, so yeah, my opening preparation seemed to hit. And that first game in particular was instructive if you're a London player. That trap with bishop takes h7. Thanks for watching, Jens. John, do you live in an apartment? I have a townhome. It's 3 bedrooms. It's 2 levels. I'm on the upper floor. This is my office. And I don't have any roommates. Thank you, Jochin. And Andy is Yoda. Shout out to Andy is Yoda. He just he didn't win, but he placed very high in a Lee chess tournament, and he said it's his best result ever. And Andy Yoda is a friend of the channel. He does Minecraft videos, and he's got a lot of subscribers on YouTube. I don't know how many you have, Andy is Yoda, maybe 70, 80,000, something like that. If you like Minecraft, check out his vids. He's a very nice guy, also good chess player too. What preparations have you made to sweep Niclas? Well, I watched our match from last time. When I was at the gym last night, I was riding the bike, and I just put that match on, and I was on the bike for like 50 minutes, so that was perfect because the match was almost an hour long. So I watched that. I tried to pick out moments where I could have improved. I also tried to pick out moments that I thought would be uncomfortable for him. And as far as opening prep, I just did, maybe 15 minutes or so, looked up a few things. I mean, you can't prepare too seriously for a Blitz match. I think both Niclas and I just went into this largely without preparation. My preparation was mainly psychological, just telling myself how I was going to play, what sort of openings I would choose, how I wanted to direct the games. Why would you live in such a huge house if you live alone? Well, the price was right on this house. That's the main thing. I got a lot of house for a really good deal. And it was new when I bought it, which is even better. But yes, it's a little bit too much space. I kind of want the option of having a roommate at some stage. Also, if I get married and have a family and I'm still here, I wouldn't necessarily have to move. It's about 1,750 square feet, something like that. So it is a lot of space. When will both of you play the next rematch? I'm not sure, Aravind. I'd like to play some other dual commentaries. I definitely want to play Jan again. I want to play Christoph. Greg is always complaining, saying I'm dodging him for a match, which is, of course, not true. Greg just likes to talk. Abo Sir says, what tools do you use to prepare? Well, like I said, I watched the video of our last match. I also use ChessBase. I use Chessable. Plug for Chessable. Go check it out. And as I said, if I like this London system, I'm going to make a repertoire on Chessable for it because I think it'd be a cool niche to fill. Someone hasn't done a recent work on the London system, so I think it'd be neat to do something like that. Maybe of even the style where I build a repertoire while you guys can watch the videos. So for each major line that I put in the repertoire, I'll make a video for it, and it'll just be kind of an ongoing thing. Might take a few months. I'm considering that. Oh yeah, I forgot about Simon Williams. I would love to play Simon Williams as well. Any chance we get a regular stream on Lichess now that you're not making daily videos? Well, I have been streaming more. I have been doing that. Streaming on ICC, chess.com, Lichess. Yeah, I don't know why I started closing my door. The audio seems to be slightly better if I do, so that's the only reason I do nowadays. I used to keep the door open all the time. Thank you, Jose. Greetings to you. He says, greetings from Chile. Hope you're doing well. When you plan a game between you and Hikaru? Well, you know, since Hikaru is clearly the underdog in that match, I would request a handsome appearance fee to make that match happen. You know, I don't just play anyone. You know, you gotta pay up a little bit. Of course, I'm kidding. I'd love to play Hikaru, but I don't think he plays mere mortals like me in matches. But he does play on chess.com, and he just played an 8-hour match featuring, I forgot how many games, like 280 games or something, with Eric Hansen. Now, Eric Hansen is a better player than me, and he's a beast in bullet. So those guys have something of a history, but if I can stalk Hikaru on chess.com, I might have a chance to play him. I don't know about a match, but maybe I can play him, and if I do play him, of course, I'm going to record it. Any plans on reviewing some of Neji's books? Maybe E4 versus the Sicilian Part 2 covering all non-Najdorf lines. He's talking about Parimarjan Negi, who's a grandmaster from India, who has produced some excellent books for quality chess, E4 repertoire books. I think he's on his 3rd book now, so there's at least 2 of them out. There's maybe 3 now. 3 or 4? I don't know. But they're pretty much the go-to resource for higher level E4 players. So if you're looking for E4 repertoire books, then that's probably your best bet, because I just paged through them and the analysis seems amazing. John, what do you think about the Ryder Gambit? I think that's in the Blackmar Daymar. I don't know too much about it. Seems unsound, though. How did you get good at Blitz compared to your standard games? I'm pretty good at standard, but just can't make sense of Blitz, I think you said. I've always been decent at Blitz. Blitz and Bullet, I've always had a knack for. These days, I like it because it's not nearly as time-consuming as the standard stuff. It's more exciting. You know, when you guys are watching, it's nice when I'm playing fast games and can kind of talk with you guys and get many games in at a time. Standard, I've considered doing some standard streams, but they are time-consuming, and I'm not sure sitting and having you guys watch a single game for, you know, an entire hour, let's say. Not that you don't do that with the standard videos already, but I don't think it makes as good of streaming. But as far as why I seem to be better at Blitz and Bullet versus normal chess, I don't know if that's actually the case. It might just be, you know, I've been running well online lately. Not even lately, I mean. You can't look at a match I play with like a GM and say, well, why isn't John a Grandmaster if he can beat this GM in Blitz? Because Blitz and Standard are completely different animals. And I know for over-the-board chess, stuff like opening preparation and also the mental aspects of navigating a long tournament, like a 9-round tournament where you're consistently facing different IM and GM opponents, that's completely different than facing IMs and GMs online. So it's just not comparable. And I don't think I play worse or anything over the board. Just maybe I have a knack for playing faster chess for some reason. Or maybe my opponents play worse, who knows? I do have a pretty intuitive style, so I'm not one of these players who calculates tons of lines and bases my play largely on calculation. I base most of my play on intuition. And in Blitz and Bullet, that helps a lot. If you're an intuitive player, you can do pretty well. And that also means if you're an intuitive player that you won't find much better after thinking for like, 30 seconds than you would thinking for like 5 minutes. Maybe your moves will be slightly more refined, but players who are calculators, they often benefit from the longer games because they actually have time to delve into those calculations. The match is over, Ali. Thanks, John Paul, for checking in from the Philippines. John Smith is very keen on a Team Scandy versus Chess Network match. Sorry to disappoint you, but I do not think that will happen. At least not a formal match. I would love to play Jerry, but he doesn't do dual commentaries. Sean says, oh, shout out to Sean. Sean, by the way, has a Twitch that he streams chess and piano improv. He's a good piano player. So I don't know of any channel like this, but he does chess and piano improv. And I think it's Cool Chess Dude is your username on Twitch. You can confirm that, Sean. But I believe that's his channel name. And he's a friend of the channel, this channel, so I wanted to give him a little shout out. Go check it out. As far as teaching you to be intuitive, that's like, you know, saying, tell me exactly how to ride a bike without you getting on the bike. Nothing I could say would help you. You got to build it yourself. You have it or you don't. A dual commentary with Eric. Yeah, that would be cool. Eric Hansen. Thank you, Angelo. And the London, I saw London on the screen, so I said London, but I wanted to say the U.S. Championships just started a few days ago. They've played 2 rounds, and I believe round 3 is in progress now or starting very soon. So make sure you watch that. The St. Louis Chess Club has a great stream, so if you got some time this weekend and even into next week, because the tournament's very long, it's 11 rounds. Check that out. There's been some great games played thus far. Like Wesley So just absolutely blew out Gatakomsky in the first round in a Berlin. It was like a 30-move crush. Also yesterday, Fabiano Caruana played a gem of a game against Sam Shanklin in a French defense, the white side of a French defense. It was absolutely beautiful. He did some intricate maneuvers and he proved why he's a 2800 and very nearly won the candidates tournament. Anton says, are you going to stop ducking Tony Rowe? We want a standard game. Hello to Tony Rowe if he's in the chat, Tony Rotella. He also has a channel, which you guys should check out. He's posted very instructive videos on opening theory, on standard games, on rook endgames, on the bishop and knight versus king endgame. And we have some plans to play some standards soon, at some stage. Tony is my student, too, in case you didn't know. John, are you going to join us for the St. Louis Chess Club live stream? I pop in there from time to time. I may review some of the games, too, if I have the time. I hate having to qualify everything with if I have the time, but it's really the truth. I have a pretty busy schedule, so I can only do so many videos. If I was doing YouTube full-time, that would be incredible. I would just pump out videos all the time for you guys, but I have a life, and I teach a lot of chess privately, and that's my main focus. Even though I love the channel and I love you guys. Do you get bored from time to time playing chess? I wouldn't say bored. Sometimes I get burned out of playing chess, particularly tournament chess. I don't like how long tournaments are. That's why I don't play them more often. It's just really a hassle to play like a 9-round tournament where you're usually committing at least 5 days to travel to the tournament and play all of the rounds. Weekend tournaments are easier, but you often lack the competition at those tournaments, and weekend tournaments like 5 rounds don't help in achieving the Grandmaster title. So playing over the board is always like something that I lose the drive to do. But as far as chess itself, no, I never get bored by chess, if that's what you mean. There's always something new to learn, and there's always a new challenge in this game. That's what I love about it. I've been playing it for about 20 years now. I think I've been playing tournament chess for 18 years. I think I started in 1998. 18, 19 years. And there's just always something great about the game. That's what I love about it. Sammy Kiko, thank you for tuning in from Finland. You are a proper Finn. I'm Finns in the online space, but you're an actual Finn. Where is the strangest place you've ever played chess? That would have to be in a... I can't really call it a... Actually, no. In a geothermal spring in Iceland. When I was there a few years ago, I played the Reykjavik Open, and then I played the Icelandic Team Championship because I'm friendly with some Icelandic players, and they asked me to stay and spend an extra week or so and play this league with them that ran in conjunction with the Reykjavik Open. And my the guy who was putting me up for that week is a FIDE master from Iceland. His name is Einar Hjalti Jensen. I might have butchered that name slightly, but Icelandic names are hard to pronounce. And me and him and this other guy, Gawain Jones, who's a grandmaster from England, who was also staying with him, we did this awesome hike. Einar took us on this hike into, you can't really call them mountains, but let's say cliffs in Iceland. Most beautiful hike I've ever been on. And they had this like geothermal spring where even though it was lightly snowing outside, we actually like got in our bathing suits and went in the spring and it was warm. It was like incredible. And snow's falling all around. And we actually played chess. We brought a little mini chess set and we played in there. And like Gawain and I played. And I distinctly remember I won the game that we played. And I was thinking, this is awesome. I just beat this like 2650 GM. But of course it didn't matter for anything but pride. But that's the coolest place I've ever played chess. Is there any chance you would play Hutch? Referring to the YouTuber Hutch. Yeah, you know, Hutch and I talked briefly about that. It was several months ago, and neither of us followed it up. So I should give him another shout out. I honestly just got busy at the time. I think we were talking around December/January, and I was like traveling and doing a bunch of other stuff. I just couldn't organize it with him. Who taught you to play chess? One of my friends at school when I was in 2nd grade. Iceland is beautiful, by the way. If you guys ever have a chance to go to that country, it's a great country. And they really love chess there. For a while, they had the most grandmasters per capita. I think they might still hold that record. But a beautiful place, beautiful people. They speak great English, too. Better than a lot of Americans I know. And they love chess. I mean, what's not to like about that country? It does look like the surface of Mars. The landscape of Iceland is unique. You seem to be very fit. You would beat Simon Williams in a 100-meter race for sure. Well, chess is not the 100-meter dash. I've been trying to pay more attention to my health lately. That's been one of the benefits of cutting down on videos. I'm like sleeping more. I have time to go to the gym. Eating better. All that stuff's important. It's so crucial to be in the right frame of mind when you play a chess game. If you guys are not feeling in the mood, don't just play a chess game just because. You should try to play when you're in a positive mindset. It sounds obvious, but it's really true. It can impact your performance by like up to 200 points, I think, or more sometimes. Just how you feel on a given day. What was your rating when you were 13? I made USCF Master when I was 15, so when I was 13, I bet I was around 1800 or so. I made a lot of progress between grades 6 through 8 or 9, so middle school, junior high, those years. Thanks, Sean. Definitely. Doing chess is awesome. I'm thankful every day for that. Yes, Knight Rider, the match is over. You can watch the recap of it if you like. I'm going to wrap this stream up very soon, so that video should be available immediately thereafter. John, Android or iPhone? I have a Droid. Team Droid. Where did you get that wall chessboard in the back? You can find those online, Ibrahim. If you search for demo board, demonstration board, you should find it pretty easily. Thanks, John Paul. All right, guys, the questions are slowing down a little bit, and we still got 300 people watching, but I think this is a good time to wrap up the stream. So thank you all for watching. This went about a little over an hour and a half. And thank you also to Niclas for taking this match, or not necessarily taking it, because he's the one who challenged me, but for playing this match. I know he's probably not happy with his performance, but as I said, that happens sometimes in chess. So I enjoyed it nonetheless. I hope you guys did as well. And I'll try to arrange another dual commentary, maybe with some other chess YouTuber / streamer. Ginger GM Simon Williams would be a good guy to get into a match. So I'm going to try talking to him. And I want to take on Jan again, because I can do much better than I did last time against Jan, losing that match 3-5. So yes, everyone enjoy your weekend. Thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Team Scandy out. Bye, guys.